Brisbane Roar, are they the bully boys or just better on the day? The Glory Girls keep their unbeaten streak against the Mariners, and the NPLWA Men's Night Series set to return this weekend. Welcome to the Far Post Perth, powered of course by ID Athletic. Download the latest football catalogue, idathletic.com, and Trio Homes if you're looking to build, redesign or renovate. Visit triohomes.com.au. Blayne Treadgold is my name on this edition of the Far Post Perth podcast. James Renton, welcome back, mate.
Thank you, Blayne.
You'd be, you'd be mixed, mate, obviously with the Glory not having the result on the weekend, but Manchester United having a win.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that Neil Sherwin decided to do a Christian Bale and not want to be here, but that's all right.
Well, he's not here, so neither's Donna Jaffray, neither's Jackson Bassett.
We've got a super sub.
Mate, we've gone for the super sub straight off the bench this week. Murray Stephens is with us. Welcome back, mate.
Yeah, great to be back on, I think, what Robbie Thompson describes as his favourite West Australian football podcast.
Oh,
so it's a privilege.
Rightly so. Yeah, no, I know that Robbie does listen, and often, on the odd occasion, we have a bit of backwards and forths, and certainly gave us a good plug on our chat there with David Williams. So very much appreciated. Of course, make sure you get around the A-League off-air podcast. Plenty of good times and banter with himself and Daniel McBreen.
Yeah. Just that comes with a warning, though. Don't listen to it in a car with kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
You didn't make that facial error, did you?
I've made that once, and once only.
Fucking dog shit. Oh, sorry, I turned it off.
Sorry. It's not too bad until your little girl or little boy starts repeating those words.
Yeah. Yeah, to Nana.
Yeah,
or at school. Yeah, in dangerous
Why is my
areas.
little darling granddaughter saying fucking dog shit?
Yeah, that's right. Boys, let's go around the table. I'm going to go with you first, James Renton. Good, bad, ugly. Let's start with your good from, I guess, the week that was.
It's pretty obvious, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Manchester United winning the derby. It's been a crappy season as it has been. There's been a lot of talk about what's been happening off the pitch and the decisions that have reflected what's happened on the pitch. But I really enjoyed our performance against City. Obviously, City were missing a few players, but it was a good response from the United players. City only had one shot on target. United had the ball in the back of the net 5 times, 3 of which were offside. So, look, it was a great attacking performance. The work that Michael Carrick has done in just a few days' time to give them some little bits of info to get them to perform against, a title challenger was really good. But obviously the caveat is it's one game. We've got some difficult games coming up, notably Arsenal away on the weekend. But for United fans that haven't had a heck of a lot to celebrate about this season, it was certainly great to get one up over City at Old Trafford.
Yep. No, fair enough. I can't say that I agree that it's a good thing, but anyway. Murray Stephens, carry on.
Look, the ugliest thing about that game is one side won.
Yeah.
Both sides couldn't lose. That's the ugly part.
Bloody hell.
My thing, really obvious, my good is the crowd at Perth Glory. Yep. The football players come free initiative, absolutely fantastic. Big crowd in there, 12,500, very, very loud, especially in the first half when Perth Glory doing well. Not so much for the rest of the match.
Yep.
But great to see some people that haven't been to a game in years and also just driving to the game. Usually, you'd be very lucky to see a purple shirt around. There were plenty, absolutely plenty, long lines outside the gates, people with smiles on their faces. And how often do you get to say that people are smiling at a Perth Glory game? I mean, sure, it was probably wiped off after the performance, but that's my good for the week.
There certainly was a buzz to it. Even going in there as early as I do, because obviously we go in to set up for the commentary for the radio coverage, and I went outside and just had a bit of a look through the window and this and that, and there was just a bit of a buzz. There was people waiting to get in. There was
probably would have been aided by the great piece by Ben Smith.
Yeah, I mean, but this comes in. I mean, I think I'm right in saying that Ben himself put something out on Twitter and said, "Look, it's great to be able to write a positive piece and a piece on the good vibes around the club at the moment." And look, there's mixed results, but I think that's football. And I'll go back to something I've always said is that Perth fans can take a loss. What they won't take is incompetence and teams that don't give a rat's.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, though, just on that subject, though, and this is something I know Ben Smith pointed out last year, is just how fun it is at Perth Glory games where they're up and about and buzzing and playing well.
Yeah.
And the good vibes that came out of that game against Central Coast just bled into the following weeks. Fantastic.
Yep. No, very, very good. Boys, I'm going to keep a bit of a Premier League kind of theme to my good, and that is my beloved Leeds United at the moment.
Yeah.
Going into the season, you guys gave me a fair bit of stick about trying to stay up and everything else like that, and it's not a job done just yet, but from the last 10 games, 14 points, 3 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses. That included the likes of the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Man United, and Newcastle. Now, all of those teams are in the top 10, picking up points against the majority of them. So, look, we're sitting in a good spot at the moment. It's a bit of a turnaround from Daniel Farker, who were kind of in games but not quite getting results.
To be fair, wasn't there that story that he was likely to get the sack or something?
Yeah.
And then ever since that story, they went on a pretty good run.
I think they went 7 unbeaten.
Beating a few top sides along the way, if I'm not wrong.
Probably, to be perfectly honest, it probably should be 17 points because we shat the bed against Newcastle in that 4-3, being 3-2 up going into injury time. So,
and you drew against the mighty Man United.
Mighty, please, mate. To come, Everton, Arsenal, Forest, Chelsea, Villa, some winnable games, some tough ones, and a 4th rounder against Birmingham City in the Cup. So, look, from a season that everyone was a little bit unsure on how to play out, as I said, it's not job done yet because we're still looking a little bit over our shoulder at the likes of Nottingham Forest, maybe not so much West Ham, but...
You're hanging on.
Yeah. No, we're in... And... a couple of wins on the trot, and you shoot as well. You leave others for dead. So, no, it's a pretty good time to be a Leeds fan at the moment, just digging in.
The important thing is for Leeds, though, and what we've seen they haven't done the last time they were up, is you need to build a squad that's going to hang around for, 2-3 seasons at least, and your stars, you want to hang around for 5. So you can build a squad and not just stay up, but build your way up the table and consolidate, top 6 spot.
We're a long way from consolidating a top 6 spot or anything like that.
It's got to be the goal, though. You can't just focus purely on survival.
Oh, no, it's not going to be, but it's going to be slow and steady. And, the days of just going out and buying everything have gone. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just simply can't do that anymore. So it has to be a slow and steady progression. And even Daniel Farker's come out and said, look, this is a squad that was quite raw when I first got it, but as you've seen, as we've progressed into the middle part of the season, they've started to play the way that he wants them to play, and it's bearing some fruit at the moment. So, some pretty good results. Bad,
Glory. Yeah.
Were they though, or were they just? We'll get into this.
They were bad because it was a carbon copy of every home game we've had thus far under Griff, bar the Mariners. In the way that we lost, where we've practically had 50+% of the ball, and have been unable to find the answers needed to break down a side that, was dogged in how they defended, be it high up the pitch or lower on the pitch. We got sucked into the antics of Brisbane, their time wasting, just how aggressive they were. We weren't ready for it. And yes, we were missing players, but so were Brisbane. And if we want to be a finals team, we need to be winning far more games at home. Our home form is pretty poor. We've lost 4 of our last 6. So, look, it was bad. And I say it's bad because I think this team is more than capable of putting together a run of performances and results, both home and away. But they need to start doing it. Otherwise, they're going to run out of games. So, I was pretty deflated coming out of this one just because of how similar it was to previous losses we've had at home this season.
Keep that powder dry, mate, because we'll go a little bit deeper in our next section. Muzz, bad?
Got to be the Perth Glory performance, just as James has said, but I'll go a little bit further back than that. And what I would say is bad is Perth Glory's habit of every time that there's a big crowd,
bingo,
shitting the bed and losing that match. I know we were talking about it pre-game, going, it's a bit of a banana skin game. Brisbane are going to be up for it, and then going, hang on a minute. Every time a big crowd, they lose. It's got to stop, You can only do so many of these promotions. You can't do them every single week, and people aren't going to turn up every week. What's the crowd going to be like next home game in a couple of weeks? Probably back to 7-8 if you're lucky. You think if they'd won that, they might crack 10K for the game against Auckland. But a lot of people going home a bit frustrated, I'd say, as a result of that one.
Yeah, it was a little bit flat. I actually felt flatter after the Sydney FC and Adelaide games. I don't think we're giving Brisbane enough credit here for the way that they stifled and just didn't allow Perth to play. Whereas I thought
see too many people glossing over how well Brisbane played.
Yeah,
and Brisbane played to their playbook.
Yeah,
and I know you're talking about the two losses there in the period we had 3 home games in a row.
Yeah.
What do we have the first home game? We had Tags go off. We had Kaczarski go off. And in the second game, none of them were there at all. You know, they're missing Desitoski for both those games. I think they're missing for both of those, or for periods of the first game and definitely for all of the second game, the starting top 4.
Yeah.
All missing.
Yeah.
So that I can understand. They still created chances in those 2 games, but just didn't have the quality up front at all to finish it off.
Yeah. Yep. As I said, we will go a little bit deeper. My bad. Does anyone know what the fuck the handball rule is anymore?
No.
Because I've got, I don't know, and I don't want to even label that decision for Taggart as bad because I've just got I don't know what the handball rule is anymore.
Yeah, but I think the referees are just overcomplicating things. And is it IFAB that come up with the rules itself and then we then implement it?
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. Yeah, because I saw Griff, he was in his press conference, he felt that at the time that Tags had his elbow low and then because when the ball hit it, that's what caused it to go a little bit higher up and look a little worse on the replay. But yeah, I just think there's too much interpretation when realistically it should be as black and white as possible.
We were told because we questioned that decision because it looked like it came off the back of his shoulder. He kind of spun and it came off the back of his kind of shoulder blade up towards the top of his shoulder there. But apparently there was another angle on another camera that we didn't have access to. So in the big screen didn't have access to it, and neither did in the comms box where we were have access to it. So that means it probably didn't go to air. But apparently there was another angle which said that it was. But as I said, I don't know because I don't even know what the fuck the handball rule is anymore.
Well, remember back. Where is it's too close gone?
Yeah.
Or too close a distance.
Yeah.
Player didn't have time to react.
Yeah.
That's all gone now. It just seems as soon as the ball hits the hand, you just know it's going to be a penalty.
Well, let's go one step.
It's going
as
crazy.
I said, though,
you can't have arms anymore. And what happens when you jump? Your arms go up.
But also there was the Brisbane players that ran straight to the referee.
Oh, it was Klein number 1.
Yeah.
Chief instigator through the entire game.
Number 1. But they all flooded to Adam Kersey and no doubt influenced his decision making. But yeah, I just think, again, there's too many grey areas.
But it went to VAR, so, I mean, it kind of influenced it too much because, I mean, they picked up on it.
But my question would be, if they had that angle, why couldn't they, was it replayed at all during the broadcast afterwards? At another
no,
point
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What was I going to say about that? But yeah, I mean, I've just got no idea. Let's simplify that rule.
Yeah.
Did it hit your hand? Were you in the penalty box? Penalty, no penalty, get on with it.
Yep.
Like, that's black and white.
Yeah,
let's not piss about because every time that we...
How many penalties are you going to see if you do that, though?
But every time that we piss about, we leave it up to discretion and interpretation, be it from the referee on the field or the VAR. We've got to get rid of these interpretive rules based on, someone's opinion at the end of the day. It needs to be black and white. Did it touch your hand? Yes or no? Is it in the penalty area? Yes or no? Penalty, no penalty. Work it out, move on.
I think we need to treat this like they're treating the offside, where they're giving more of a margin for error now. Whereas before it was as soon as there's half a mil offside, that's it, they're calling it, and now they're giving it a bit of leeway and trusting the lines people.
Well, interestingly, was it Simon Hill who put out a tweet about a change to the offside rule? Was it Arsene Wenger who put in that instead of having a bit offside, you've got to have it a little bit behind the last defender to be onside?
We'd see more goals, wouldn't we? Because you only need an arm or a foot.
Yeah, or you can stretch out and kind of, Does it still have to be a part of your... Because obviously,
score a goal
part that you can pour can't be an arm.
So you're going to realistically, it's going to be a foot,
or a head, or a chest.
Do you run with your head back though?
No, but you don't. But if you're diving for a header,
Yeah, I think we're just delving into the realms of
I know, but I'm just I'm just bringing it up for argument's sake. But as I say, back to the point, I've got no idea what the hell the handball rule is anymore. So that was my bad. I didn't know where to sit on that one at all. Ugly, mate.
AFCON. Because I was asked.
It's just it's the gift that keeps giving, AFCON. Every time that comes around, it is just chaos. And you know what? Is that before that, it was one of the best tournaments ever. Like, Morocco is on the list as host to host a World Cup with Spain and Portugal. And they did a fantastic job until the final, and everything went bananas.
So that happened. I was on 91.3 Sport FM. I was with Matt Griblich, and he was like, "Oh, did you see it?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, he was describing it to me, and I was like, "Shit, I better go and have a look." And so obviously there was the Senegal. Their players briefly walked off, and Diaz missed the penalty. But in the last 24 hours, Morocco, I think they've announced that they'll be pursuing legal action.
For what? Oh, over the airport. That was the airport arrivals where they were basically
over the final, based on a belief that the decision of Senegal's players to leave the pitch had a material impact on the result.
Yeah, okay.
Because
there were some really ugly scenes.
I think that penalty probably had more of an impact than
there were some really ugly
But
scenes of the Senegalese player copping shit. And I'm just going to say literally copping shit almost. At the airport, it was scenes that have been described as 10 times worse than what the Socceroos went through in Montevideo.
What about the ball boys? Playing around with the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The shenanigans around that. Oh, it's been a fantastic tournament.
Do you reckon that penalty was missed on purpose? There was talk about that in the week, whether it was a little bit of a to square the ledger type.
Not sure about that.
I don't know. It was mentioned in the week.
But either way, it never disappoints. There's always
AFCON is it's amazing. Brilliant. Long may it continue.
Look, you two boys are going to call me a basic bitch, but my ugly for the week is VAR. And the disallowed goals we've seen, it took a long time.
Grimaldi?
You've got Grimaldi, Melbourne Victory.
Yeah. Grimaldi,
areas?
Melbourne Victory areas. Well, it took 6 minutes, man. 6 minutes in that game. How long did we have for that handball decision? That was probably like 2-3 minutes after the occurrence, but we finally got the decision for the penalty. But it takes so long, and I think you may be onto something. Removing the grey area would lead to quicker decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just kills the flow of the game, and we were very, very lucky in the original derby between Adelaide and Melbourne Victory. It didn't kill the entertainment because there was still 2 disallowed goals.
Yeah.
And the match still ended 2-1 with a very, very late winner to Adelaide United. So, but yeah, VAR for me, it still needs to be refined. I know it gets harped on about most weeks, but
they should have a timer where it's like if you can't come to a decision in like 60 seconds, then it goes with the original on-field decision.
I think that'd be fantastic.
I know it's probably a bit too simple to say, but
Or coaches or captains challenge, you get 1.5.
Yeah.
And you get 20 seconds or 15 seconds like we see in the cricket.
Yeah.
If that time's out, too bad. Doesn't matter how wrong it was. Trust the referee. Trust the lines people. Give them back a little bit of, I don't know, I think VAR...
Hasn't that been... That's been brought in other areas of the game, hasn't it? That kind of coaches, captains challenge. There's some level...
It's been talked about.
Maybe in relation to who can actually challenge the referee. I think they didn't want players... Maybe this was a Premier League rule, but it was only the captains could talk to the referee, I think.
Well, that's the way it should be anyway.
Yeah, rather than a swarm of players like Brisbane were doing, but anyway.
Yeah. Yep. My ugly at the moment is the Western Sydney Wanderers. Alan Stajic getting the arse today. What the hell has happened to the Wanderers over the last decade? Like, that is the club that should be like the heartland of football, which it is.
Yeah.
It should be one of the best clubs. It should be one of the richest clubs. It should be one of the best supported clubs. They've got a catchment of about 4 million to themselves out there in Western Sydney.
Poor leadership.
They've got all the ethnic communities kind of in that pocket.
It's poor leadership because ever since Popper left, the majority of the fans have been going at the likes of Paul Lederer, the owner.
Yeah.
John Tsamis John Tsitsipas, I think, the old CEO. And I recall there was that period when Carl Robinson was in charge, and just the discourse from ex-Wanderers players.
Out of Neighbours?
Sorry?
No, I'm joking.
No. But just as to how toxic the culture was and how toxic the environment was, and it's no surprise that stage, unfortunately.
How is it like they've got so many free hits out there? Like, so many free hits. As I said, build it and they will come. It is literally as simple as that out in the western suburbs of Sydney.
But what's their strategy? That's the better question.
Well, we've talked about that.
They might have too many areas that they want to go at, rather than just sticking to where we want to develop, the next generation of Matildas and Socceroos. We've got a heartland of football, here in Western Sydney. That's what they,
massive history. I mean, they're called the Wanderers because it's based on the local club who played the first ever football match in Australian sanctioned football match, I should say, in Australia's history. Yeah. I mean, that's how far it goes back, football in that region. It is an absolute heartland. As I said, I don't know what's going on, but it sure is ugly.
Where do we want to start with them, though? How far back do we want to go? Because short term, they haven't replaced the players that they lost the last couple of years. In the last probably 5 years, they've lost a lot of talent in their academy system. We see Will Freeney came to Perth and has done really well for Perth Glory. Alex Badalato as well had to go to Newcastle in the end to get a shot, and those are two really good players that could have been playing for Western Sydney.
Christian Volpato came through there too, I think. Didn't he?
He didn't get much of a sniff, though. I think it was in the academy, but
they had several players in the academy that they just didn't seem to produce, or at least give an opportunity to. So they went elsewhere to other clubs. Even I think Miguel DiPizio, he was someone that was in their academy, and he went to Central Coast in that season when they won the treble under Mark Jackson. Yeah. So.
No, there's just I don't know what's happening with that club, but they're in a state, considering what's happening between their men's team and their women's team. It's
are they both bottom of the ladder?
I think they are. Yeah. I think they are without checking. But they're certainly both down there.
Yeah, they certainly were a couple of weeks ago when Perth Glory women beat them.
Yep,
great game that.
It was.
Boys, let's wrap things up. Let's take a bit of a break. We'll come back on the other side. You're listening to the Far Post Perth podcast.
Tired of the same old cookie-cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Second part of the Far Post Perth podcast. Big thanks to ID Athletic and Trio Homes. Boys, not the result that Perth Glory fans wanted on the weekend. A 2-1 loss at the hands of Brisbane Roar. As mentioned in our good, our bad, and our ugly. I just thought Brisbane Roar just came with a plan. The plan was to scratch, to scrape, to bully, to, pick, to whatever they needed to do to get that win. And they did it. And I think there was almost a feeling that they, particularly after they got themselves back into it, maybe fortuitously through that penalty, I just thought they were the better team from that point on. And, I mean, I got a little bit criticised for saying that they bullied the Glory on the weekend, but I think that's the best way to describe it. I thought that Perth was maybe a little bit naive going into it.
Well, how many times did James McGarry shoulder charge or bump Charbel Shamoun off the ball, particularly in the second half?
And I mean, look at Dimitri Valkanis. Every time that Taggart or Lawrence went to shut down Butzanis, it was it wasn't just stepping in front to hold a run. It was
a dirty block, an intentional
There was a
block.
lot of that off the ball,
Yep.
It
and
wasn't
a
just
lot of that
Valkanis.
happening.
Wasn't just Valkanis
The other lad as well.
No,
Ludwig as well.
Ludwig, yep.
But you're right. They came with a plan, and they were very physical.
Yep.
Very, very physical. And I know people who are just watching on the TV, you just wouldn't pick up on it at all because you just focused on that.
Yeah,
little
there was a
tiny
lot
sprint.
happening off the
But,
ball.
you're off the ball, you're right. Valkanis, bang, elbow straight into the back of Taggart's neck.
Yep.
Or Lawrence or whoever was trying to run past them. And it didn't matter if the ball was 5 metres away or 30 metres away. If they were running past them, it was a shove or it was an elbow.
There was always
crazy.
there was stuff happening across the park, and there was an interesting point where Houston Salas actually went down in his own penalty box late on, and I think even Dean Boutsanis had cracked the shits with him and told him to get on with it because he was standing over him going, "Come on, mate, let's get on with this," kind of thing. So look. Not everyone was in the Brisbane camp was on board with that.
I'll tell you what,
as soon as Houston Salas, because he didn't want to come off.
No.
But he had to because the trainer was already walking on, and then the trainer started to jag his ass across the pitch as well. What
Brisbane do really well, better than anyone else, is they know where the line is and they know how far to push the physicalness. They are pretty aggressive. They're not. I don't think you could call them an outright dirty team. I think that would not be the best way to describe them. And they know how far they can push the referee in the match in trying to influence his decisions and getting around him. And I think that all really sparked off in the 9th minute with Gio Diabro went in late and caught the player, and it was Samuel Klein, chief instigator all the way through the match, was straight in the face of Diabro, who got ripped off by Lawrence, and was how many players were around that? How many Brisbane players were around that challenge? Half the team.
Yeah.
You know, straight away within seconds. That was the flashpoint that they were looking for to galvanise that match, and it happened early on.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think that'll be something that Gio Diabro will learn from. And don't get me wrong, I'd hate to see him try and change his way because I think his tenacity is absolutely an X factor for him. We saw that first time tackle that he put in on Piraeus a few weeks ago, and I thought that was as fair as they come. Unfortunately, Piraeus suffered a pretty significant injury from it, but I think in the 9th minute going in like that in a game like that against Brisbane, where you know that they're
just a bit
the shit can merchants are going to be straight onto you.
Just a bit of youthful exuberance and just him wanting to get stuck in, and it can happen. But it would have been ideal if Luke Amos was in a better physical condition. Because for me, I think the smart decision would have been to take G off at halftime because you can't be losing the midfield battle against a side like Brisbane. Yeah. And when we weren't getting on the ball anywhere near enough and finding Lawrence in space or finding our wingers in space, I just think we didn't manage the game well at all. There was a significant period between shots that the Glory had. So they finished the first half with one shot, which was Taggart's goal. It wasn't until the 62nd minute, which was Caltech's volley from the corner, when they next had their shot.
At half time, the shot count was 11-1.
That's embarrassing.
It was crazy. And that's not saying that Brisbane had a lot of great opportunities.
And Perth had scored by then. So that was the one. Yeah.
1-1 going in at half time. And we can bang on about that handball and how unfair it is, all we like, but we're still clearly the second best side in that first half. And you got to say they probably played for the first 30 minutes, and after that it was all Brisbane raw.
We didn't let our football do the talking.
No.
On the ball, that's something that we've got to work on significantly if we want to be a finals team, because we still don't really look that good on the ball. And when I was saying that it was similar to the losses that we've had at home thus far, we defaulted into desperation through crossing. And even when we were trying to cross, we were too slow getting out wide.
I disagree with you in a way. I think we've played some good football. I think some of the link-up play, particularly down the wings, the likes of Shamoon and Osler, I think they've got a great little partnership, and they've kind of passed their way in and out, particularly that first 25 minutes and the weeks prior. I thought they've been really, really good. However, I'm going to agree with you that I think that they almost try and score the perfect goal. I said to Murray Stevens and Tommy on the weekend that, look, let's almost just try and get a quick ball into the box at times rather than trying to sit there, wait for that perfect cross.
We would take 5 passes to move the ball from one side of the pitch to the other. Meanwhile, Brisbane had either Dean Boutsanis, who could pick a Brisbane attacker out with one long ball, or they would immediately look for the diagonal switch. At some point, Glory players have got to develop that confidence or just have that ability to ping a pass or just move the ball a little bit quicker.
Well, we saw it because it worked for that Taggart goal.
Yeah.
So this isn't a secret by anyone's imagination. Adam Taggart prefers that ball to be played to him as quick as possible, isolating that centre half. As soon as there's time for that second centre half or that second defender to come across, Adam Taggart doesn't do as well. So that's the whole idea.
You got to play to the strengths, and Taggart, he's exceptional.
Gets that quick ball.
Yeah, he gets the quick ball and does really well with it. But he's not the tallest striker in the world.
No, exactly.
He's not going to win against two tall central defenders.
Yeah.
But just to your point, James, I think Brisbane Roar as well. They pressed really well. And they controlled the space really well.
But another point on that is within our, if we want to be a little bit more nerdy and specific, when we build out from a deep position, we're still quite predictable and can't find that spare man, because it wasn't to say that Brisbane's pressing structure was totally flawless. There were some areas where players were able to get into some areas where they could have received that short pass and we could have looked to have turned and exploit the space. Instead, we'd go long and lose it and rely on Taggart to win, at times, a 2v1, which for me, when we talk about needing to see a little bit of evolution with how the team plays under Adam Griffiths, I think on the ball, that has to be a critical priority heading to the next fortnight.
You've really got a point there, especially that, what are we at now? We 10 games into
13.
The season, so we're 11 games into the Adam Griffiths era.
Yep.
Probably not long enough to see the best out of the squad or the best out of Adam Griffiths. It's going to take time.
Yep.
But the major things is, and the positive points that we can look on is under previous coaches, particularly he who should not be named from last season in the first 2 rounds of this.
Zadonki.
You can say it. I'm not going to disagree with it.
Yep.
There was no running off the ball. Very, very little. Players were static. It may happen for the first 5 minutes, and then when it didn't work, the players looked pretty disinterested. Now there is movement off the ball, and it's not perfect, but it is happening. And especially when they get that early ball happening and they get the 1v1s happening, then there's a lot of running off the ball. And it's still not going to be perfect, but it's there.
Well,
and it's going to get better throughout the season.
Just a kind of final point to add on to that. I still think our pitch geography understanding is a little bit limited because our players are too busy thinking about what's immediately in front of them. I don't think we scan well enough to see where our teammates are in space, and I don't really think we take that extra bit of detail.
So I think that's I think that's improved. I think that side of the game has improved.
It has, because under Driller we would normally just go route 1 and inshallah.
Yeah.
But now at least it's sort of we're trying to have a little bit of, let's try and build up, because against Mariners there were loads of times when Osler and Shamoon combined really well, and Shamoon would be able to drive inside.
Yeah.
But we need to be playing through the midfield a little bit more, finding that spare man so that Lawrence could receive, because the 2 Brisbane midfielders I thought did a really good job of screening balls to Tom Lawrence, and there were rare occasions where Tom could actually turn and play, and when he did, a lot of the time it was a rushed ball to Taggart that got intercepted, especially in the first half.
Yeah, it was quite interesting watching the way that Brisbane set up, because they basically pushed the numbers straight up. The fullbacks and the wingers were both very, very high, and obviously Klein or Mayoroni would drop back in between the centre halves as well. So it created a lot of. I said to you guys at one stage, I said, look at the gaps in that midfield. There was no one in there for Brisbane because they'd all gone straight up the flanks. Which was quite an interesting time there. I wanted to talk about, it looked like there was quite a bit of fatigue, particularly with Bozanovsky, Diabru, who the head started to drop, and then you could really start to see the fatigue. So where are we at with Freeney? Is he back this week?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think they need Freeney there, but they also need. I was really disappointed with Luke Amos. When he came on, I thought, there might be a little bit of a spark here. He was starting way, way, way too deep when we're chasing that game in the second half. He was basically picking the ball up from the centre halves.
Just on that initial point about fatigue, that's the first time under Adam Griffiths I've seen our midfield and our whole team look that open.
Yeah.
We've not, probably maybe since victory, but even then we've been fairly compact with our shape, and teams haven't been able to run through us. It was like watching a game under David Drillich last season with the amount of space that teams had in the midfield. But, it was disappointing that Amos couldn't be brought on earlier. And, unfortunately when you've got...
Well, I don't think... From what I saw from Luke Amos on the weekend, I don't think it would have mattered. Yeah.
Well,
I don't think it would have mattered because he's clearly underdone.
Yeah, 9 minutes. There's barely any time to get a read of the game and start playing.
Yeah,
and
but you've got to be sorry. You're an ex-professional that you came through the Tottenham system and all this kind of thing. If 9 minutes isn't enough to try and get your head in the game, then there's something seriously wrong. You should be starting as someone like Luke Amos, who's been around the game that long. He should be ready to go the moment he steps on the pitch. He's not a 17, 18-year-old.
Where's his fitness at the moment, though?
But that's what I'm saying, is that I don't think it would have mattered if he came on or not, because what we saw was just slow. It was lethargic. It was far too deep from Amos.
Well, it's like
especially when he's been brought on to chase the game.
But you're wanting that little bit of quality, in particular, from your visa players. And what we're seeing with our midfield at present, you've got Bozanovsky, Will Freeney, Gidi Abreu, who have been pretty good in the midfield thus far. So when you want your visa player to come on, one of your so-called better players, you'd expect a bit of quality. And it's like, well, I'd rather have a kid from the academy come on at this.
But it doesn't matter how good his quality is if he's standing next to Brian Kaltak.
Yeah.
It doesn't come into the equation. Yeah. So I just said I was really disappointed with Luke Amos, and obviously Adam Griffiths said a little bit after the match about he's not quite there, and he probably had a little bit of a dig at Amos, saying he's got to do a lot better to get himself up to standard.
Of course, it's unfortunate for him that he's had those injuries over pre-season, and it's not been easy for him to get into the position where he's now able to feature in games.
Yep.
But it's, again, you need more.
I wanted to talk about, we started with it last week and we spoke about the reinforcements that are coming in. Steph Kolakowski is...
Number 67.
Well, he should be cleared to play this weekend. So with that considered, and I spoke to you guys on the weekend about that, for me that creates a nice little scenario or another option where you can play Pennington in a much more central role, because I think that creative player, and I think Pennington's kind of got that little bit of a creativity, maybe something that we were looking for in Amos on the weekend, to be able to play almost as a link between.
Pennington was our most progressive player on the ball last season.
Yeah.
So he's much more comfortable.
But if anyone's going to play a 10, it's going to be, or that link, if you like.
You'd rather have him deep and then you have him looking for Lawrence, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be far better to have Pennington in midfield and then with Kohler coming in as an option.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is the option's there now.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a nice little headache to have for
Kaczarski, likely to come back as well.
Yeah, Despotovsky on the weekend. I don't think we expected too much out of Seb first game back. I think he was busy without doing much. Yeah.
Bit of energy.
Yeah.
Bit of something.
My concerns around Bozanovsky and Sutton, Sam Sutton, who of course went off again.
He copped a whack, didn't he? And the match before,
he copped a whack. He copped a whack in the eye, and then he got another one on the weekend. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Sam Sutton travel to Sydney this weekend. I might be totally out of it, but I'm just thinking 2 weeks in a row that he's gone off injured.
You'd probably want to save those players, given we've got a pretty massive game at home the following week against Auckland. So,
correct.
And I thought Zach Lizalewski was okay when he came. I thought he was one of the only players that stood up physically to Brisbane and was able to handle it and thrived in it.
Yeah, so, I think you've probably hit the nail on the head there. Anything more on Perth? No.
Crosses. 2 out of 22 crosses the whole game.
Sorry, go again.
So we had 22 crosses the whole game.
Yep.
Two of them were accurate. So
okay.
And the reason why I mentioned that is because the previous week against Central Coast, I think we had 13 crosses all game or something like that. So I imagine against Western Sydney we're going to have potentially less of the ball and look to hit them on the transition, which has been a mode of play where we've been pretty good. But particularly at home, when we have more of the ball, can we show some more ideas so that we're a little bit more unpredictable to the opposition?
Elsewhere around the A-League, Melbourne City with a surprise win 2-1 over Auckland. Western Sydney, they went down to Newcastle 2-1. Central Coast beat Macarthur. Is that right? Central Coast beat Macarthur. Oof.
They drew, I thought.
They drew, did they? Sorry, I've got that.
1-1.
1-1, sorry. I put the wrong one in there.
Was there, I think.
I think I've stuffed this up, haven't I?
There was some beautiful footage of, was it Yerman trying to get back for that late goal, where he got so close to blocking it on the line that it went through his legs.
Yeah. Elsewhere, we saw a 2-1 victory for Adelaide United over Wellington, over Melbourne victory. Boys, goal ruled on. What was this? What do you reckon about that, Grimaldi?
I think he was in an offside position, but was he really obscuring the goalkeeper? I don't think so.
If you're offside and you're in the way of the goalkeeper, though, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
How much grey area do we want to have in it? I know it's harsh, but I think it's the right call by the letter of the law.
I don't think he was in the line of sight.
But should have taken 6 minutes to come to that decision.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
That's a fuss of VAR.
Even if you take him out of it, he's not the goalkeeper's not saving that.
No, it's a good finish.
As good as Smith is, he's not saving that.
Don't tell me you tipped this on the weekend, because Wellington beat Sydney FC 2-0. Reece Yuli went after 43 minutes, goals to Carlos Armiento and Isaac Hughes, and that rounded us out, boys. So, any observations from the last round of A-League?
Concerns for Western Sydney. I mean, we've obviously touched on them before, but just a flat performance. They've signed, obviously, Hiroshi Ibisuki. I believe they'll be signing Ryan Fraser.
And he always scores against Perth.
Yeah, so
Hiroshi.
You should probably put money on that.
Yeah.
Luwal looked a decent player for Western Sydney. I thought Wellington had a strong performance away from home.
Mm-hmm.
Great strike from Armiento. I know it deflected, but it's definitely getting very tight in that race for the top six.
Yep. No, very good.
We go on about this a lot, but greatest league in the world, especially this season. Anyone can beat anyone.
A-Liga.
But anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah.
And it's not just the race for the top six. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You dead bottom, you string three
top
wins.
two lost, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And Sydney FC blew a golden opportunity to go top, which they would have done. But you can be sitting bottom, put 3 wins together in 5 games, and you move just out of the finals.
Yeah.
That's how tight it is.
Yeah,
It's
a very, very good season. Very much enjoying that. Well, let's come back, boys. We'll get into round 3 next. You're listening to the Far Post Perth podcast.
Tired of the same old cookie-cutter home designs? Dreaming of a space that truly reflects you? Then it's time to talk to the team at Trio Homes. Whether you're looking to build your dream home, redesign your current space, or simply renovate, Trio Homes is committed to unique designs, local personalised service and quality workmanship. And with former Perth Glory star Dino Julbich at the helm, you'll know you're getting passion and dedication built into every project. Discover the difference with Trio Homes. Visit triohomes.com.au.
What a run! This could be the one! It's in! That's what it's all about! And when it comes to sports gear that helps you perform your best, ID Athletic has the winning formula. From grassroots clubs to elite athletes, ID Athletic provides high-quality sporting apparel, screen printing, embroidery, and made-to-order promotional products. Proud sponsors of the Far Post Perth and passionate supporters of WA community sport. Visit ID Athletic at 84 Howe Street, Osborne Park, or online at idathletic.com. ID Athletic. Build your identity.
Final part of the Far Post Perth podcast. Boys, a little bit happening, locally, abroad. There's a bit happening across the A-League women on the weekend, Renton.
Yeah, almost had a great away win against Central Coast. Fantastic strike.
How was that goal? Yeah.
From Susan Fontaine.
Yeah.
She's pulling out some fantastic goals.
Technique was superb.
Yeah, really good volley. Again, like you said, great technique and an Olympico that the Mariners scored. So this is football heritage for Perth Glory, where we score an Olympico 1 week against the Mariners and concede Olympico against the Mariners with our women's team.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't a bad performance. Certainly rode our luck from time to time, but I like where we are currently positioned on the ladder, and I think it's been a point that's been discussed for a while now.
So 5th, is that right?
6th.
Okay, after the result on the weekend.
Well, equal points with 5th though. It's
equal, with
Newcastle,
Melbourne Victory and Central Coast.
Just give us a snapshot of the ladder.
So first, Melbourne City; second, Canberra; third, Central Coast; fourth, Victory; fifth, Jets; sixth, Glory; and then you've got Wellington, Brisbane, Adelaide, Sydney, and Western Sydney.
And how far off top of Perth in 6th?
4 points.
4 points. Look at that, yeah.
But
throw
City,
a blanket over them.
But City, they've got a few games in hand.
Yeah, okay.
So
is that because they play in that Asian competition?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a bit weird because you've got Central Coast and Melbourne Victory who've also played an extra game. Even more, they've played 12. Perth Glory's played 10.
Yeah.
And then you got clubs like Melbourne City.
Yeah, I think they played a
10.
double header or something like that. So I think that's
Morrissey had another good game.
Yeah.
She's been outstanding.
I just want to give a shout out to Chloe Berryhill Legazzo. Unfortunately sustained a knee injury on the weekend. It is a season-ending and ultimately a career-ending injury. So, look, she's been a great contributor to the game all across Australia, and the Matildas, of course, great contributor to inspiring the next generation of young girls as well. So we certainly wish her all the best, and not the way anyone wants to finish their playing days as in injury form. So certainly wishing Chloe Berryhill Legazzo all of the best in what is next. Boys, just before we get into the next round of the A-League, plenty happening on a local front. The 2026 Football West NPL Men's Night Series kicks off this weekend. I just wanted to bring you the fixtures. If you are in the south, make sure you get down to Alfred Skeet Reserve, of course, home of Armidale, where 6:30 Friday you can catch Perth Glory taking on Dianella White Eagles, followed by Armidale taking on Perth Red Star. So double header there. If you're a little bit further to the north, Frank Drago is where you should get to, depending, of course, where your team is playing. Perth Azuri, they will play Western Knights 6:30 on Friday, followed by Bayswater City against Fremantle City. So we had the Coppa Italia. I'm not sure if you saw that, boys, but we had obviously the Italian heritage clubs, Perth Azuri, Bayswater City, Fremantle City and Balcatta. So these two teams have already played on the weekend, Bayswater City and Fremantle City. Not a great start. Well, Bayswater got the third place and 2-0 win over Balcatta, but unfortunately they lost Tom Southgate on the weekend to an Achilles injury. So wishing Tom all the best there. They've also had Gordon Smith retire, which was posted today as well. So maybe a different looking Bayswater City compared to what we've seen last year, who went ever so well in the league and then went on and represented WA in the Australia Championship. Saturday, you can see up at Percy Doyle, Sorrento taking on Balcatta Etna. That is happening at 5:30. That one is followed by Olympic Kingsway against Stirling Macedonia. So plenty of double headers and everything else like that happening across the weekend. Plenty happening in the State League. I'm not going to go through all of them, but check your local guides. Check out the Football West website. It's
a special time of year. Night series, absolutely love it.
Yep.
The balmy nights.
Yep.
Going out to watch double headers all around, and not just the NPL night series. Go and watch the State League night.
Bit of a
series
different
as well.
look, NPL night series. It's a bit of a condensed format because the season starts earlier this year in the NPLWA.
It did stretch on a little bit too long the last couple of seasons.
Well, the reason that they've done
it.
it is there's actually, from what I understand, and I think the fixtures are out this week sometime, but I understand there's going to be 2 breaks in the middle of the season, one to give players a rest, but ultimately we saw what happened with many of the grounds last year is that they just didn't have time to recover after the dredging that most of them got.
The Northern Suburbs just absolutely copped it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because they've seen that Joondalup corridor, just any game that was...
Well, it's all of that kind of...
Training cancelled.
I remember having a chat to someone at... around the city of Vincent. I just can't remember if this person worked for the city of Vincent. But obviously you've got Lake Munger. And we've got to remember too is that the Perth metropolitan area at one stage was just bulk wetlands, which all fed down into the Claysbrook Weir and then ultimately into the river. But when you get flooding underneath that Leederville area, and of course the city of Vincent is,
Perth.
Britannia Reserve Perth, and then obviously into the city of Bayswater, across to the city of Stirling and everything else like that. It actually seeps back up. The water's just got nowhere to go, so it actually comes back up through places like Leederville Oval, Dorrien Gardens,
Florian's an interesting one as well, because that was built on an old market gardens.
Correct.
Which was
a wetland.
An old wetlands that was drained.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Whoever does the groundwork there does a magnificent job every single season.
Well, we saw it on the weekend, and the pitch was looking outstanding at Dorrien Gardens. I was down there for the Copper Italia, and it looked in mint shape. So,
have we heard any word on signings? I know Perth has been very vocal about who they signed.
Yeah, so Charlie Fleming's come over from Armidale. Peter Jacobs has come over from Armidale.
That's the
Amir
big signing.
Ajan has come over from Armidale. Who else have they got?
Have you rated any other clubs?
Liam Driscoll. No, well, hey. It's not on me. I don't do the signings. Look at me, pal.
You're announcing them. we know that Knights have got some signings, some decent ones that they haven't announced yet. Sort of Olympic Kingsway.
Yep.
Haven't heard much out of Bayswater.
Yeah, Jack Lisby's gone to Olympic Kingsway.
Yep.
I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit of movement. I think it's going to be a good season. I think maybe the likes of your Olympics and your Bayswaters have maybe just stepped back into the pack a little bit. I have got some concerns around Armidale considering the turmoil that they've kind of gone through. We'll probably have to set aside a podcast to go into it and a little bit more in depth. But I think it's going to be a good season. I think there's plenty to look forward to.
Should be.
Yeah. Muzz, you got a big grin all over your face.
It's my favourite time of year, mate. When the NPL kicks back off, you've got the A-League still going. The NPL starts to kick off a night series, and then you dig your teeth into A-League finals as the NPL starts to kick off and the state league. So very much looking forward to it. And how are your boys going, North Beach? Were the juniors there the other day? You didn't get a kit with the juniors? Renton to go out into the field and hold out and take its hand.
I'm not juniors anymore, Blayne. Jesus Christ.
Is this just an age gap thing?
It's ageism, yeah. No, North Beach, so we're in the State League.
Yep.
I recall watching that playoff that we had. I think it was against Swan.
Dennis,
I think you were commentating that.
No, I think I was on the MC.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Very happy about that.
Yep.
Very happy. Congratulations.
Yeah, I do enjoy the promotion relegation playoffs. I think that's a brilliant part of the
thing.
They had a red card that game as well, if I'm not wrong.
Can't remember. I think I did about 4 games.
I think a Swan player did get sent off, and our guys that were there created a good atmosphere. So
I think the promotion relegation playoffs is probably one of the best things that we've had in the included into the game in the last kind of little period.
I think in that day as well, you had 2 games out of the 4 to be played that day that went into extra time.
Yeah.
So
there
was some antics in the penalty shootout. I think a little bit later in that day as well. One of I forgot which team.
Coburn.
Yeah.
Old mate went on a run, didn't he?
Fair play.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Get around your local. Very much looking forward to a big local season, and as I said, we'll go into that a little bit deeper as we get a bit closer to the NPL season. Boys, tips as we go around the table before we wrap things up. Friday night, Newcastle Wellington.
Draw.
Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle for me at home. Auckland Central Coast. Do Auckland bounce back at home?
This might be ugly for Central Coast.
Yep.
I think Auckland, they have an emphatic win because they'll need to respond.
Yeah, no disagreements.
Auckland for me as well. I think this one's going to be a ripper. I think as much as Adelaide probably haven't been the greatest, I think they're going to be up and about. Some good results recently over obviously Perth and then Melbourne victory on the weekend, taking on a Brisbane side who's going to be full of beans as well.
I hope Brisbane get done with a few dodgy calls. I'm definitely not bitter at all.
Yeah.
No, I think they'll get over Adelaide in this one. Yeah.
MacArthur, Melbourne City?
City.
I can't read City at the moment.
City.
Well, they had a great result against Auckland, didn't they? And then you have a look at MacArthur, and going forward, they're great, but just defensively, they're still really suspect.
It's Dad's Army at the back, I think.
It is. Yeah, they're just a bit slow there. Melbourne City.
I'm going to pick a draw. I just don't know about either of them at the moment. Of course, I had MacArthur to do well this season, but they're not doing that. But neither are Melbourne City. I don't want to
push you off the fence, Blayne, but statistically, the A-League and the West Australian NPL, 2 leagues in the world with the least amount of draws.
It's going to be a draw then, isn't it? Wanderers host Perth on Sunday.
Do Wanderers get in?
Yeah, this is kind of. I think it's
danger game.
I feel it's going to be a big win either way.
They've got far too good a squad to be sitting dead bottom, haven't they?
Yeah, It just depends because Glory do perform at their best away from home rather than at home. So on that, I think probably a 1-0 win for Perth.
Yeah, I think Perth will scrape a win.
It'll be ugly though.
I'm going to pick a draw. Monday, Melbourne. Is that Australia Day, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snuck up on us.
Big Blue.
Melbourne victory v Sydney FC.
I'm going to do a Blayne and say draw.
Well, this is another. It's almost like this is almost like a derby. You just can't pick it.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Sydney, to be honest. I just thought they were poor against Wellington on the weekend. And then as for Melbourne victory, they're anything but consistent. So
go on 4 and beat and then lose 2. Yeah,
standard procedure in the A-League, unfortunately. So yeah.
Well, this is my one game to tip a draw.
Yep. No, fair enough. I think that's cool. We can watch a little bit of football on
all I'm hoping for is just some really questionable decision right at the end to make Arthur Dillis fuming like he was against Adelaide United because his comments afterwards,
losing his shit.
Mate, you could just see the steam coming from his head. It was great.
Any burning questions, boys? What would you like answered between now and the next time we speak?
Does Steph Kolakovsky score in his debut or his return to Perth Glory against Western Sydney?
No, he doesn't.
Thanks for answering my burning question.
No, I just don't think he does. I think he might get 15 minutes off the bench, and I don't think he'll start.
Number 67, Stefan Kolakovsky, header off the bench, shirts off.
6-7.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
He's gone for that on purpose, hasn't he?
Yes.
Is he just winding up kids?
Yes.
There you go.
I love your cola.
Well, there we have it, boys. Let's wrap things up. Big thank you to you, James Renton. Big thank you for stepping into the big shoes that were left, Murray Stevens. Big thank you to ID Athletic and Trio Homes. Don't forget to tell everyone about the Far Post Perth podcast, now available on Spotify, on Apple and YouTube Music. But until next time, we'll see you next Tuesday. You've been on the Far Post Perth podcast.